program actually already exists.
Okay, so you're actually a conservative who's for increasing the government size, not for decreasing.
Well, no, I want a small but strong government. So I want things that are smart. For example, I'd love to have more Border Patrol agents and less IRS agents. So where it makes sense to increase the volume of government agents, as long as it is pursuing a couple things that are core to my philosophy. A strong country that has borders, sovereignty, culture, and maintains a moral commitment to its citizens, that you should be able to work hard, play by the rules, be able to have a family, own a home, and see rising income and wages. Those are very basic things in a social contract.
Why is the increasing IRS agents, which are taxes that belong to us, they help pay for things like roads, GPS, infrastructure, basic things that you and yourself needed to get here? Why would that be so bad, having everyone pay their fair share of taxes so we can have a government that functions correctly? Well, obviously, government doesn't work for everything, but we all benefit from government services every day.
I'm sorry, no one in this room is going to benefit from 87,000 new IRS agents. Instead, those 87,000 new IRS agents are going to be deployed against small business owners. But
what's up, YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. Today, guys, we're back here with a new video. Today, we're going to be checking out an amazing video. This is best of Charlie Kirk. I call him Charlie Kick because he loves kicking us. I love to check this video out. You guys, let's get right into today's video, guys.
If the Constitution was written to benefit only white people, why is it that Asian Americans are the richest people by race in America right now?
Because the Constitution wasn't written to make people rich.
Was the Constitution written in Korean?
The Constitution was written to make people become slaves.
Yeah, yet Korean Americans and Vietnamese are actually benefiting the greatest from this American experiment.
Actually, in California, as a direct result of Asian success, there were laws passed that stopped Asian Americans, or Asians period, Asian immigrants, from being able to become citizens or own land.
Chinese Exclusion Act, you don't recall
of Asian success. So no, like structurally there have been so many roadblocks.
So you're proving my point precisely?
No, I'm not.
So your point is that we were racist against Asian Americans and now they're the richest in America, so they went through a vast time of inequities and they rose above it and they're much richer per income and wealth than white Americans.
No, that happens because Americans realized that they f***ed up and they lost all of the labor that was going to be possible for people to work on farms in California in order to exploit the land that was in California. There was no way for them to have people to work there, and that's why they brought immigrants back. That's why.
So what social program
America
was designed?
Was literally built on our backs.
That again, swearing and saying things like that doesn't make your argument any more valid.
But okay, but it helps me take out a little bit of my anger.
That's fair.
Which is valid for me to
then if it was rigged for a specific group of people, Asian Americans are the richest by race. The second are Indian Americans, people from India. And the third would be white Americans.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, so why is that?
How do you feel about phrenology?
What are you saying about racial inequality then on the other side?
So why? No, but explain to me why that is. I could tell you why it is though.
Maybe the top 1 or 5% are the richest. What about the global South? What about the poverty? What about the lowest?
What about okay, so let's talk about
the lowest 50%. What are
in America or globally?
Well, yeah, no, in America. And globally, as well
okay.
as globally. What's their racial background?
Well,
what's the racial demographic of that? Mostly people of color, not white people.
But the Asian Americans are at the top of the socioeconomic ladder relatively.
A very small number.
No, in the aggregate. In the aggregate. If you look at the way the data is compiled and presented to us, they are the richest per capita group by race in America. Why? Because over the last 50 years, Asian Americans graduated from high school in record numbers. They did not commit crimes.
Because we're smarter than you. Sorry.
Oh, okay. That's an that's a racist argument you just made.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into eugenics, but you just said you're smarter. I don't think that. I don't think any race is smarter.
There are other races that haven't done what you're describing.
Because
okay,
the two groups that are poorest by race in America are Native American Indians and African Americans. We've done the most to try to help them over the last 50, 60 years. We have the Bureau of Native American Affairs in the federal government. We spent $22 trillion in the federal government trying to help Black America, and Black America is poorer today than before we tried to start to help them. $22 trillion.
Racism that just exists in the system.
Okay, so your argument, institutional racism. My argument is failed policies that Lyndon Baines Johnson, a bitter and committed racist, you and I will both agree, and a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat who didn't want to sign the Civil Rights Act, passed the Great Society, which clustered.
Do you think JFK was going to sign the Civil Rights Act?
Well, he wanted to before he was.
He was certainly not going to.
So you're right. The Democrats were opposed to it. You're right. The Northeast Democrats.
LBJ was definitely for it because he was from South Texas.
So what did he call the Great Society bill?
Oh no, LBJ was a racist.
he's an old white man.
Are all white people racist?
I would say that I think white people have an implicit bias. You can argue with me. I think white people have an implicit bias.
Do you understand how racist it is to think that all white people are racist?
We don't experience systematic racism. We don't experience racism when we try and
Okay.
Power structures.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So then how did Asian Americans climb up the power structure?
That has nothing.
No, can anyone explain that to me? Because I can't.
I'll explain. Most Asian Americans here, okay? You said Native Americans, Black Americans.
Are the two poorest by race? That's
what
inarguable.
keeps them in common, okay?
What keeps them in common?
They've been here for a while.
Okay, so you know what keeps them in common?
Yeah.
They also get the most government benefits per capita than any other group in America, because the way government programs are.
That's a symptom, not a cause.
No. And you can go to almost a direct date. Black America is poorer today than before we started helping Black America. The welfare programs.
By helping even by desegregating, I don't think that's much help.
Okay, so how about this? The Black single motherhood rate in year 1964 was 22%. Now it's 74%. How on earth does that happen? It happens because we subsidized single motherhood through the 70s, 80s, and 90s by saying if you get married, you lose your government benefits.
Birth control for lower income people. That's why.
Then why is it only their community, the Black community, that saw a spike in the single motherhood rate?
Because
they're
they
the
don't
lowest
have the
income.
same access to it because they've been written out of those
But
laws.
weren't Asian Americans written out of the laws in the 1940s and 50s?
No, because they are not Black.
Oh, okay, so it's only Black people that experienced a tough 20th century.
No, I'm talking about Black people that were specifically written out of these laws.
Asian Americans were written out of laws in the 1940s.
I
We put
understand.
Asian Americans in internment camps.
I understand.
So so what you could.
Why is
I'm
it so
sorry.
triggered?
Well, California Democrats did that in the 1940s under the direction of Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Switched positions on those ideas. Did you take U.S. history?
Yeah, I did. That is one of the biggest lies ever taught in U.S. history, and we could talk about that. So. Democrats have always been about control and always been about power. That is the continuity. Republicans have always been about freedom. The Republican Party was founded in 1860 as an anti-slavery... Freedom for all people. The Republican Party was founded as an anti-slavery party for rights of all Americans in 1860, founded in Ripon, Wisconsin, and it has not changed. It has always been about the equality and freedom of all people. The Democrat Party has always been about division.
What do you think about the war on drugs that the Republican
No, I
Party
actually would have more sympathy with you about decriminalizing marijuana and the war on drugs. So. Yeah, I know it's funny to believe in freedom, but
how come whenever we bring up
War on
something,
drugs. How is that about freedom?
I'm sorry.
But like Reagan was one of the biggest proponents of the war on drugs. How is that freedom? How is that pro-freedom?
Again, it was a bipartisan agreement, but I would agree. I think that's a valid point.
how come every single thing?
I think it's well, I mean, I know it might amaze you to say that I actually said you made a valid point that Republicans have been hypocrites on the war on drugs over the last 30, 40 years.
But then can you also recognize that the war on drugs disproportionately hurt people of color, and that's one of the reasons why they haven't experienced the economic gains that you say everybody should have experienced?
So how big of a reason do you think that contributed to the rising single motherhood rate in urban communities?
I mean, if the dad's in jail, then
So why is it only their community that saw the spike in single motherhood rate?
crack
Despite
cocaine
So many Black fathers were being sent to prison.
and it was only Black communities doing cocaine. It wasn't Hispanic communities or Asian American communities or white American communities doing crack cocaine.
Demographics for those communities.
The cocaine
Don't just
epidemic.
focus on Black single motherhood.
Are you triggered, by the way?
We've all seen you be triggered on YouTube as well, so don't act like yelling and being upset is something independent to people on the left.
Well, I get yelled at more than that.
Dude,
But anyway.
Congress sort of 100 to 1.
But let me ask you a question. The crack cocaine epidemic in the 1980s hit all communities. It hit the Black community the worst, but it hit all communities.
Yeah, so
Correct?
it hit all communities, but the Black community the worst. Okay, so how come Congress threw it a 100 to 1 sentencing disparity?
No,
with,
again, you're going to
crack
find
cocaine
you're going to find sympathy with me in the drug law argument. But you're not going to find sympathy is that we continually subsidize through these welfare programs and then broken public schools. We can get into that, which is a complete relationship with the Democrat Party and the cartel, which is public sector teacher unions. That does not allow good teachers to be paid more and bad teachers to be fired. Yes, the public sector teacher union is a cartel.
Okay. So you're saying teachers are paid too much?
I'm sorry?
You're saying teachers are paid too
No,
much?
teachers should be paid more and bad teachers should be fired. Under the current way the tenure laws are written and the agreement between the state government of Texas or the state government of Kansas and the public sector teacher unions, bad teachers cannot be fired. It's nearly impossible to fire them.
Police unions?
Who
Police
built
unions
the
are
public
cartels.
education system in Texas?
Democrats.
Who has been in power for the last 50 years in Texas?
Well, Republicans, just so you know, understand your history, Texas became a red state around like 88. So it was mostly Democrats that built these. So it was Lyndon Baines Johnson that was a Democrat,
Daddy.
and Kay Bailey.
Daddy.
Wait, it's funny.
Lyndon Baines
So by the way, so what did he call the Great Society Act since you call him Daddy? He called it No, he called it the N-word bill. He was a bitter and committed racist.
I know he was a racist, but we still got these things through.
You mean the things that kept Black America permanently poor and kept an entire part of the American population without hope? That's something you're proud of?
I'm not an African American person, so I can't speak on that behalf.
But you can look at data.
What other buzzwords?
I don't think you are either, so I don't know if you can speak
But I
on
mean,
that.
like what data do you have to argue that?
Wait, before we go back to
I want to say, by starting off, I was told by your wonderful assistant over here that I should tell you that I disagree with almost everything. Obviously, we have not had a 2-hour conversation. So, like, who knows? Maybe we had a few beers. We agree on something, but
I'll have water. You can have whatever you want.
All I've heard is stuff that I'm just like, what? First, I want to say that I guess as the first 2 hours of your speech was you complaining about kind of these leftists and kind of this, but I've never heard any policy positions. When I go to something like a Senator Sanders convention or someone on the left, they're going to talk about healthcare, inequality, inflation, growth, but you guys all seem to want to talk about is how the left does this or the left does that, but no policies of how to fix anything. So I guess that kind of goes with my first question is, what is the GOP's actual position when it comes to fixing inflation?
Well, a couple things. First of all, I'm not a senator, nor am I aspiring to be one. Number two, yes, I was mildly distracted by the windows being broken and the terrorists outside. I fully acknowledge that, okay? So I was a little policy shallow tonight and a little bit terrorist deep, okay? I will admit that. Third, I'll say this. I don't speak for the GOP, right? I have my own ideas, and I actually think the GOP does a terrible job. But let me give you some ideas that I think you might agree with, okay? I think that vital products should be made in America, not in China. And we should use tariffs and sanctions to get it done. Vitamin C, penicillin, critical infrastructure should be manufactured here. I think American college graduates should be given preference to go work for American companies above foreign workers. And that means reforming the H-1B system and actually giving you, the American college-educated kids, a preference because we have a moral obligation to our own citizens over the citizens of another country. I think we should fully close the United States southern border. I think we should not allow illegal...
I just want to interrupt you. Sorry. You were saying you're for a government program that puts American college students. So
reforming the immigration system, right? So that big companies like Facebook don't do quasi-indentured servitude to bring foreign workers in and be able to compete.
But that would be a government program that would do that.
Well, yeah, the government program actually already exists.
Okay, so you're actually a conservative who's for increasing the government size, not for decreasing.
Well, no, I want a small but strong government. So I want things that are smart. For example, I'd love to have more Border Patrol agents and less IRS agents. So where it makes sense to increase the volume of government agents as long as it is pursuing a couple things that are core to my philosophy. A strong country that has borders, sovereignty, culture, and maintains a moral commitment to its citizens, that you should be able to work hard, play by the rules, be able to have a family, own a home, and see rising income and wages. Those are very basic things in a social contract.
Why is the increasing IRS agents, which are taxes that belong to us, they help pay for things like roads, GPS, infrastructure, basic things that you and yourself needed to get here. Why would that be so bad, having everyone pay their fair share of taxes so we can have a government that functions correctly? Well, obviously, government does work for everything, but we all benefit from government services every day.
I'm sorry, no one in this room is going to benefit from 87,000 new IRS agents. Instead, those 87,000 new IRS agents are going to be deployed against small business owners. But I could keep on going with policy examples. I can keep on building it out. But let me just say this. I love markets, but I'm willing to critique markets when I think they're not serving people and they're not serving the nation. I think our overindulgence in free trade fanaticism has been a major mistake over the last 20 or 30 years. I don't worship corporations, but I do think that entrepreneurs and private property rights and people taking risks are a general good for society. And not only does history show this, but common sense logic and material reality shows all this. I can give you more and more examples if you want of policy stuff. That's less actually interesting. The reason I don't go through policy stuff is that I'm not running for office, right? I don't represent the Republican Party. But if I can build out a worldview that you can agree with, then the policy answers will come naturally, right? So if you understand morals and values, then you could answer the next 1,000 policy questions.
I guess for me as a student, I care a lot more about policy than what people say. Like what government does is a lot more important to me, and that's why I was confused why your speech was not about policy.
Because, again, I'm not running for office.
I want to ask one more question before I go. I guess for us, there used to be a thing called the middle class, or the idea of a growing and strong middle class.
Yep.
And I feel like for the past 10 years, especially on the right, maybe on the left too, for the more neoliberal left, but the right, that idea is kind of shrunken. I don't think there's a lot of talk in the middle class. Do you view income inequality as a problem?
I totally disagree.
Income inequality, I want to say income inequality being the difference between
let me ask you though,
and the median.
I have a question. Why is it that the wealthiest counties in America all vote on the left?
Because that's where all the how money works and how capitalism works is how all the wealth is where all the people want to be. Like, so Silicon Valley is all the jobs and all that
why
stuff.
do they vote liberal then if the left...
Well, in what ways they vote liberal? Not on taxes, not on things that I am for.
They vote for Joe Biden, they vote for Nancy
they're left,
Pelosi.
But they're socially left, but they're not economically left. Believe me, if you go to the Bay Area, they are very economically right. Dianne Feinstein is not left, in my opinion. So it may be left socially, but I don't think they're left in my point of view.
Yeah, but so then let me ask you then, why is it that the muscular class in America has shifted right over the last 7 years?
Not according to the midterms. I mean, you guys tanked on the midterms.
You keep on saying you guys. I don't represent the Republican Party.
My apologies.
But I just want to critique one of your misguided premises, which is that somehow the right is not representing middle class voters. It's the opposite. Actually, states that are traditionally blue-collar, muscular class, middle-class states are now solid red states. Look at Ohio. Ohio is a state that used to be far left, and now it's more in the right direction. So what is the right actually doing about it? To answer your question, a couple things. We're rejecting neoliberalism. Like, how about this? We shouldn't send $200 billion to Ukraine, and we should instead represent our own people and close our own border. That's number one. Number two is that we should be unafraid to use tariffs and sanctions to say that critical infrastructure and things that matter should be made here in America. Whether the delusion on the left, and I just want to challenge you on this, is that the left has a bunch of people that talk a good game, AOC and Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, but when it really matters, they're nothing more than neoliberal shills that are willing to invade other countries, invite them into our country, and then lie to their voters under the veneer of social liberalism. The populist movement in America that represents real people, muscular class teachers, police officers, and firefighters, it lives on the American right because we listen to our constituents and we're willing to fight for ideas like tariffs, sanctions, closed border, and no more money to Ukraine. The left is shilling for all those things. Thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. Getting to the next one. Thank you.
Can I just ask, is the difference between the mean and median, income inequality, is that a problem
50 people in line. Thank you. Income inequality is a big issue, which is exactly why I support the things that I said. Next question.
Thank you so much for coming out here and for facing disagreements first, I guess. I really appreciate it. All right, I had another question coming up here, but the bait is there and I have to take it.
Okay.
So I am also pro-choice, and I was wondering how, you said to the previous dude back there that the government, in cases where human life is at risk, should step in through any means necessary, be it through mandates, be it through bans, things like that, right?
Again, that was a hypothetical answer. Let me clarify it. I think the government has a moral obligation to protect innocent life when confronted with the question of someone intervening to end that life.
All right.
So if a police officer is standing idly by and he sees someone on the side of the street and someone is going by to about to kill them, the police officer, being an agent of the government, has a moral right to intervene.
Step in, yeah.
I'm sorry, I do have to take a little bit of a caveat here. So the behavior of the police officers in the Uvalde shooting was disgusting.
Oh, I totally agree.
Do you believe? Okay.
Yeah,
sweet.
but guess what? I'm consistent. The cowardice that happened at Uvalde is the cowardice we allow to happen when there's 1 million abortions in our country every single year.
All right, okay.
Which is standing idly by when children unspeakably get massacred.
I don't know. I think there's a bit of a difference, and the analogy that I usually use, or the question that I usually ask pro-life people, is do you believe that the government should mandate organ donation, even in cases of things like donating your kidney? Or right now we have a policy where even after death, if you have religious things where you have to. Oh. Sorry, that's not me.
That's not you.
No. Where your whole body has to be intact in order for burial rites and things like that to happen. We say that you shouldn't have to donate your organs, but the pro-life case seems to extend to the idea that even people who are living should have to give up their kidneys to people in hospitals, maybe, who need kidneys.
Well, I don't quite see it that way.
Okay.
But
what makes a uterus different?
Well, first of all, again, in 99.67% of the cases, the woman made a choice that could potentially...
And what about those 0.4%? What do you think should happen then?
Oh, I think the baby should be delivered, of course, because I'll give you an example. Let me just prove it to you. If I had 2 ultrasounds, and one of them was a baby conceived in rape, and one was a baby conceived in consensual sex.
Well, of course.
Which one is it?
No, they look the same. I do.
But you can't tell because they're both human beings.
Yeah.
And in Western morality, of which I'm defending tonight,
doing something wrong after something evil is never the right thing.
So do you think that government should mandate organ donations?
No, and I think it's a false equivalency for more reasons than one, for a lot of different reasons. By the question of, do I think the government should come in and protect innocent life from being slaughtered? Of course I do. Yes. And that's the answer. So, I mean, when it comes to mandating organ donations, I don't even see how that's applicable to the question. Because in 99.6% of the cases, 6-7% of the cases, the mother made a choice to be able to get pregnant. Now, in the very small micron kind of case, then the case is that the human life and the human being needs to exist.
So,
needs to be able to exist.
All right, I'm going to argue that different forms of birth control have like different forms of like effectiveness, and someone could be like potentially on birth control using those control methods, and it fails. Is that just a risk that like someone?
Yeah. So I'm going to say something. This is how far our morality has gone. We need to teach kids to save themselves for marriage, and a lot of these problems wouldn't be having. And if you do decide to engage in consensual marriage sex before marriage, and you get pregnant, that's the cost of the game.
All right. Okay.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
If cocaine was right here and I took it, is it the person who dropped it there or my fault if I took it?
I think the question of fault is a wrong
My
one.
fault. It's my fault if I take it.
But
See,
then
I
what do you take it?
believe that people are responsible for their own decisions, not society.
Exactly, but black communities have been redlined for centuries. So families and like
Wait,
black
so
men
black people are too stupid to know otherwise, not take drugs? Is that your argument? No, that's your argument. No, your argument is that black people are too stupid, and like drugs come, they must use them.
Exactly, they've been redlined to communities, and then
That's
the
your
drugs are
argument.
being brought into
No,
these communities.
I believe
they're being overexposed to it, and thus they're more
first
likely
of
to take it.
So to your
Same
point,
with white people. You know, so many white people at Berkeley do cocaine too, right?
So your point,
How are
we
they
don't have
different?
enough people in prison, okay? So
They don't have enough?
we under-incarcerate rapists, under-incarcerate sexual offenders. Average rapist gets 3.5 years in prison. 3.5 years. Rapists should get prison to life and castration. We under-imprison people. We probably over-imprison people for some drug possession crimes. You and I could find agreement on that.
Okay.
Not drug dealing.
And those crimes happen to fall along racial lines. So
No, they don't. No, they don't. So blacks commit more crimes than white people.
has statistics behind both,
So
I'm Hispanic too as well.
Look, blacks commit more crimes than white people. Don't have to say it out loud. It's just the way it works.
No.
My question is why?
Blacks kill. Why? Because they don't have fathers in the home.
And then how does that happen? We can't just stop asking why.
Right, exactly. The question. So that's a good question. First of all, it's culture. No one wants to say it.
How does culture arise?
How does
we can't divorce the laws that we're living in from how we behave.
inserted ourselves, the federal government in the 1960s, Lyndon Baines Johnson, Great Society Act, inserted themselves in the black community primarily, tore down the homes, put up vertical housing units like Caprini Green and others, and then we brought in massive government programs where black women married the government and separated from black men, creating this chasm where we subsidize single motherhood. Black women and women in general America lose money if they get married, and that's not right. So we subsidize single motherhood. 75% of black babies in America do not have a stable father in the home. 75%. Every statistic will show if you bring fathers back in the home, crime goes down, depression goes down. Fatherhood.org, look it up. It's publicly funded. California's government funds it.
Is that statistic based on marriage? Marriage rates?
Well, it depends on whether there's a stable father in the home, right? So how they tabulate it, I'm not really sure, but you go to fatherhood.org. It's publicly funded by the federal government, by state governments. It's like the most nonpartisan. Yeah, just look it up. Fatherhood.org.
This makes a lot of sense from the start to the end. It's simple. Every time they talk about race and why is black in the situation they're in, it's a common thing that keeps on happening in America, and we all know the solution. It pains me that we know the solution to the issue and we don't want to fix it. Lack of fathers in the home creates these issues in black homes. Like, it's not just in America alone, guys. If you go to Africa right now, like, you see a lot of people. Let me use Nigeria, for instance. Single mothers, they are a lot. They are many. Do you understand? Also, you see baby mamas everywhere. In America, you see rappers that has babies from different women because they feel like they can do it. But at the same time, it's affecting their children. This is what they don't say. Any home that the parents are divorced, it affects the children. Any home the father is in prison, it affects the children. Any home, any father absence, it affects the children. As long as the father is not there, it affects the children. It's as simple as that. Training your child together, both parents, it elevates the family. I have seen different families. I'm also an example. Do you understand? So when I'm talking about experience. I grew up knowing my mom. But choices, you see that thing called choices. Choices makes the difference. The child wants to hustle more. The child wants better life for his mother. Use Tupac too as an example. Tupac had to go to the streets in order to provide. Do you understand? I know what I've passed through growing up with my mom. Do you understand? So when China is saying all this, I tend to relate. You understand? I understand what he's talking about. I fully understand. So government have subsidized single motherhood. And that's like women feel like they can do it on their own. You can't do it on your own. I've experienced that. You can't do it on your own. No matter how you feel like you're strong, you have friends who will be there. They will not always be there. You think you have family members who always, they will not always be there. You think you have family members who will support you. They might not support you. You understand? So, family, you need father and mother to make both grow. You can't skip any of them. So whenever I hear black people complaining about they were being enslaved, they've taken 300 years of their life, they were being enslaved. Black is not it's not only the race group that have ever been enslaved. But we can't have a sleep over it because black keep on reminding us every time that the whites enslaved them. It's too much. I am black too. My forefathers were actually enslaved too. Do you understand? You don't hear me complaining or shouting. Why? The white owes you nothing. It's as simple as that. They owe you nothing. If you see in a black neighborhood, you understand? You get me? In a black neighborhood, when all blacks are together, growing together, whenever a black man has money, he leaves the black neighborhood. He does not want to grow there. He does not want to build infrastructure there. He just wants to live. Why? Because he feels like that place is not good enough for him. He don't want to better his community. He just wants to leave and go join the whites. A lot of black people have inferiority complex. A lot of them. And every time an issue comes out about black and whites, they always blame the whites every time. Every single time, they are always blaming the whites. I don't know why. Because of something that happened how many years, decades ago. They keep on blaming the whites. I'm not saying racism did not exist. Racism exists. The way black people were actually treated was terrible. But in our dispensation right now, that is drastically down. That is drastically, let me say, dead. Because there's nothing a white man can do that a black man cannot do. But we'll keep on repeating this scenario every single time. I have said this countless times in my videos. I saw a guy, there was an interview. They were interviewing the guy was just like, he has over 11 children from different women. And he was proud enough to say it. Like, he just came out from prison. Then you see him with some cash and say he has 11 children. Like, why in the world are you proud enough to see you have 11 children from different mothers, from different women? You might not even know some of your child's name. And he's a black guy. He's proud enough. He's like he's living his life. There's no garden life in you trying to raise children that there might be enmities in the home. Do you understand? It pisses me off when I see people like that. You see black men, they will sleep with someone, impregnate them, they don't want to marry them. Then these women tend to train the children by themselves. It's serious. It's serious. It's something that we are not talking about. Others are lie, it's lie, but it's bad. The black man always feel this inferiority complex every single time. Every time. If they look at you in a way, you feel like it's because of your race. Every time. If they say a certain word, you say it's because of your race. It's not everything that's about you. It's not everything that's about black people. In America right now, the rate of crime in America, it's extremely high. The black commit more crime. Like the crime rate of black people, it's very, very high. It's very high. Why is that? Why? Ask, that is the reason. Why? We'll come back to family. Asian America, they were not perfect. They passed through a lot of racism too. But now they're the most richest ethnic groups. They're the most richest in America. Asian Americans are very, very rich. You hardly see anyone that is broke or poor or see them begging in the streets. You don't see that. Why? Family. They believe in family value. That is what black people are lacking. You can't build a society whereas a family is broken. It will never stand. It will never stand. A family that is not at peace, that is not standing, you can't. Because the family is the future of any society. I keep on saying this, but we keep on neglecting it. Black people keep on saying they're not the issue. There are other issues again in America. But whereas you don't want to face the main core issues. So if you see all this black, they have conferences, black conference, talking about different issues in black homes. They don't bring out that. Whenever you see all the black conferences talking about things about black people and stuff, talking about how they will elevate them and make them more better and rich in the society, in their diaspora, they don't talk about the family core issue. They don't talk about that. The main issue in black homes is about lack of fathers in the home. Most black men are in jail, dead, or they have divorced. It is very high. It is very high. And if we do not tackle this, in 10 years from now, in 20 years from now, it will be worse. I'm telling you the truth. 10 years from now, we will still be talking about racism. It will be worse. It's not going anywhere. Because if we do not tackle the issue right now, it will keep on increasing. Comment down below what you think about this video. Give us a thumbs up. Share this video as many as can. Subscribe to our channel, guys. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you stay safe.